Hey, I have a second channel. Cube Compium TDX.
Hey everybody, real quick one here. I just want to talk about power supply safety real quick. The reason why I'm shooting this video is because one of my regular viewers sent me some video footage of him trying to troubleshoot a power supply that's having issues with starting up, and I happened to see footage in that video of him testing the PSU with the cover off. Yes, having mains voltage plugged into the unit and having it running with this cover off. Guys, that is really dangerous. So, power supplies. I mean, the thing about them is, look at the cover for a power supply. Of course, a lot of them will say, do not remove this cover under any circumstances, or sometimes they'll say, do not remove this cover, no serviceable components inside. But, if you know what you're doing and you are experienced with electronics and you know how to replace capacitors, and again, you're knowledgeable of the hazards that are in these units, sure, work on them. But do it safely. Do it safely. And the reason why I say that is because power supply units, they can be deadly. They can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Now, of course, in a lot of my videos here on the channel, you've seen me work on power supplies where, of course, I take the cover off and I'll take the PCB out and I'll replace capacitors and things like that. Keep in mind that I happen to know how to work safely with these things. So, these power supply units, depending on what country you're in, whether you get 120 or 230 volts, they take in that 120 or 230 volts. And if it's an older style unit like this without PFC, it uses a voltage doubler circuit, so the bridge rectifier, to step up that 120 volts up to, of course, rectified 170 volts DC up to 340 volts DC. And of course, if you're in a 230 volt country, it just simply takes that in and steps up to, I say in between the range of 320 to 340 volts, something like that. So 340 volts DC in this area, that can be deadly. Now, of course, right now you can see I'm touching around inside this thing. This thing hasn't been plugged in for quite some time. But a power supply unit, when you first unplug it, generally it will discharge in a matter of seconds, but you can't always trust that. You can't always trust that. And when the thing is plugged in and running, you best know this area here is live with high voltage DC, and this heatsink here, the primary heatsink, is generally live too. So these things can be very dangerous to work with, and you should only run these with the cover off if you are a trained electronics repair tech, because these things, if you don't know what you're doing and you happen to touch something like this or make contact with any of this, even after you've initially de-energized the unit, this side here can definitely hold some charge for a little while. If you're working inside something like this and this is energized, it could throw you across the room. It could kill you. So, let it be known that these things, although, you've seen many videos of me working on them if you're a regular viewer. Trust me, I know what I'm doing. I know safety precautions to take with these things, and I guess I need to emphasize it better here on the channel, on my power supply videos, that these things can be dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. Do not run these things, like I mentioned, unless you are well trained in electrical engineering and know these things, how they work. Don't be running these with the cover off. I don't want to see when my viewers get injured. I don't want to hear any stories of a viewer getting injured working in one of these things. So, that it's said, definitely use extreme caution with power supply units if you decide you want to mess with one. My videos, of course, they're for entertainment, and should you decide to work on one of these things, you're doing it at your own risk. You're doing it at your own risk, and you should definitely be knowledgeable of the hazards that exist in these things, because like I've mentioned, this side over here, if it for any reason happened, these two capacitors right here, they happen to be charged up, it could injure you, it could kill you. And of course, this unit, as I mentioned, this is an older style unit. It uses the traditional voltage doubler to step up 120 to 240 volts, or excuse me, 120 to rectified 170 up to about 340. But newer power supplies, they have active power factor correction, and they generally have a boost converter over here that does practically the same thing. Whether it's an APFC unit or if it's an older unit like this, they can be dangerous to work in if you know what you're doing. So if you decide you want to work on one of these units, like you want to replace capacitors and things like that, please know that these things can be dangerous to work in, and definitely be careful. Take extra precautions with them. Anyways, hope you enjoyed this little video. Thanks for watching. Well, everybody, that wraps it up for this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like the video, leave a comment, subscribe to QQ channel, and be sure to tick the bell. That way you get notified of new video posts. Also, I recommend following Q Computer Company on Facebook. A link is in the video description. In addition to computer tech videos, I have a second channel, CubeComp MTDX. Links are available at the end of this video. Again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching and your support.